Hey everybody. So in a recent video I discussed about how Microsoft has ended the ability to activate Windows 10 and Windows 11 using a Windows 7 and Windows 8 key. This whole thing all started back, of course, when Windows 10 was released. Windows 10 was released with a free upgrade offer that was supposed to have ended in 2016, but in 2016 Microsoft ended up just ending the Get Windows 10 app that would nag people on Windows 7 and Windows 8 to upgrade to Windows 10. And let's say I think some people were definitely happy that came to an end. But of course Microsoft kind of just left the door open for you to be able to upgrade from Windows 7 or Windows 8.1 to Windows 10, or activate an installation, a clean installation of Windows 10 using your Windows 7 key or Windows 8 key. And this actually continue on into Windows 11. You could actually activate Windows 11 using a Windows 7 key. So it began to seem like Microsoft was kind of relaxing and just taking a back seat more or less on the whole licensing sort of thing. Well, in a way, yeah, because for example, back in the good old days of Windows XP, if you didn't activate Windows, you were locked out of your computer. Whereas nowadays with Windows 10, Windows 11, you just get a little watermark on the corner of your screen, and you occasionally get a nag once in a while, and you can't personalize your desktop and things like that. The thing is, with Microsoft, for several years, of course, allowing you to activate Windows 10 and Windows 11 using Windows 7 or Windows 8 keys, people sort of accepted the amount of nags that you get in Windows for like apps and things like that. Microsoft Windows, since Windows 8, especially since Windows 10, has turned into this OS that downloads apps in the background without your consent. It wants to track your data. Now, of course, when I install Windows 10, Windows 11, I turn all these things off, but there's still a little bit of that stuff going on. A lot of telemetry, showing ads in the OS for an OS that you effectively, back in the good old days, you effectively paid for. The thing is that if Microsoft is going to go back to their old ways of charging you for their OS, more or less, by cutting off the ability to activate Windows 10 and Windows 11 using a Windows 7 or Windows 8 key, you pretty much had to go out and purchase a Windows 10 or Windows 11 product key, which isn't exactly the cheapest thing. So to go out and purchase a copy of Windows, install it, and then get these ads and these apps and stuff installed in the background, it's like, if Microsoft is going to go back to their old ways, they need to make the Windows operating system like it used to be. They need to allow the consumer the ability to fine-tune how Windows Update works, be able to make the OS easy to use without having to install third-party workarounds. Like, for example, I use OpenShell to get the Windows 7 Start menu back. If Microsoft is going to go back to their old ways of more or less forcing you to pay for a upgrade to Windows 10 or Windows 11, then they best make the OS more like how it used to be. Now, of course, Windows 12 will be coming out next year, supposedly, and we'll get to see what happens there, but I have my doubts that Microsoft is going to, claw back on all the telemetry and all the preloaded apps and garbage. See, the thing was, back in the old days, of course, for example, upgrade from Windows XP to Windows Vista, you had to pay for that. And upgrade from Windows Vista to Windows 7, you had to pay for that. But at least you got an operating system that wasn't preloaded with a bunch of junk apps, and it was a very user-friendly OS. Nowadays, Windows, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Now, of course, I use Windows 10, Windows 11. Most of my computers here have Windows 11 despite not meeting the Elite Class System requirements. But I would prefer to have more of a Windows 7 type of experience with modern Microsoft Windows. I would prefer to simply be able to install an OS, not get asked all these dumb questions about your advertising ID and your telemetry and all this. You know, ask the important questions like, what time zone are you in? What do you want to set your computer's name? And stuff like that. And when I connect the computer to the internet, I don't need it to download half a gazillion apps off the internet for like, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, or just things you don't want to use and you don't want installed on your computer. It's like, okay, if Microsoft is going to go back to their old ways of charging you for the next OS release, then they best go back to their old ways of how they used to do Microsoft Windows. Which I doubt that's going to happen, but it's something that they need to consider. Now, granted, Windows 11 is still a free upgrade from Windows 10, provided your system meets the Elite Class system requirements, and if it doesn't, it's still an upgrade if you elect to bypass those requirements using Rufus or something like that, or another bypass method which I'll be covering in a future video. So, kind of a quick one here, but yeah, just kind of want to air my thoughts out a little bit about this whole thing. You know, I was kind of upset over the fact that Microsoft decided to go back to their old ways of making you pay for a new version of Windows, considering nowadays they're basically monetizing the OS with ads and suggested apps and just all sorts of junk. If they're going to make you pay for it, then they need, it's like, for example, with YouTube. You either get ads or you pay for YouTube Premium, you don't get ads. With Microsoft Windows, used to be you paid for the OS and you didn't get a bunch of ads in the OS, and you didn't get preloaded apps downloaded automatically and all that mess. Nowadays, you're paying for the OS and you're still getting that mess. Now, granted, if you're building a PC from scratch, or you want a copy of Windows and you didn't have a Windows 7 key or Windows 8 key, yes, you still had to go out and purchase Microsoft Windows from like Newegg or Amazon or somewhere like that and pay for the OEM or the retail price for the OS. That hasn't changed. But Microsoft basically had left the door open for you to pretty much get the OS for free using an old Windows 7 license you may have had kicking around. And again, as I said earlier in the video, with Microsoft seemingly taking the approach of upgrades are free forever, I was sort of okay with the concept of getting suggested apps installed. Because, I mean, most of the time, considering I don't use the Windows 11 start menu, I don't see that garbage. It's all in a little folder called apps in my start menu. It doesn't really affect me. But now, if they're going to charge you for an upgrade, and what to see what happens on Windows 12, if it will be a free upgrade or not. If Windows 12, you get to pay for Windows 12 if you have Windows 11. Windows 12 better not have a single suggested app downloaded into the OS, and it best not have an ad placed in the OS for an operating system you paid for. So, Microsoft, you either gotta, it's like you can't have both ways. If you're gonna make us pay for the OS, or pay for an upgrade, don't monetize the OS. Seriously, cut it out. Or if you want to monetize the OS and download suggested apps like you do with Windows 10, Windows 11. Make it basically like it was from 2016 to 2023, 7 years. Make it more or less, if you have this copy of Windows, you have free upgrades forever. I mean, again, it's what it seemed like they were doing for a while. It seemed like Microsoft had moved to a model of, okay, if you have Windows 7, okay, if you have Windows 8, okay, if you have Windows 10, you can get Windows 11 for free. Or you can get the next Windows for free. So, I don't know, just kind of my thoughts. So anyways, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video from Kuku Channel. If this is your first time, please subscribe to the channel and be sure to tick the bell so we get notified of new video posts. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, leave a comment, and share this video as well as the channel with your friends and get the word out. Also, I have a second channel, that's CubeComp MTDX. Over there you'll find videos about thunderstorms and weather, cycling, and videos about me personally. Feel free to subscribe over there as well if you like. Again, I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for your support.